YouTube analytics has always kind of sucked. I mean, for many reasons, but it's usually kind of frustrating. And I'm like an analytic addict. I've been doing YouTube for a pretty long time. I've used YouTube Studio a ton, and it's always getting on my nerves for many reasons. Let's turn off my extension again and let's look at this, okay? If we just come to the plain dashboard, it's just loaded with a bunch of junk you're never gonna click. vidIQ is a cool plugin, but they fill up Studio with so much junk too. It's such a waste of space. So first off, I was tired of seeing all this junk every time I first came to Studio. Then analytics. This page can really use some help. Not only is it like oddly archaically styled, like if you see, why is this page all the way to the left and not filling up this whole thing? Why is this have a max width and is all the way to the left? A max width isn't always bad, but why is it smashed into the left when if you're in content, all of a sudden it's not? In analytics, it is. You have all these videos down here in a table. They didn't feel like putting a border on that. But you go to content, everything has a border. Why is everything so all over the place? For the most part, they haven't changed anything about YouTube Studio in a very long time, and especially on the app. The app is even worse, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Then, if we look here, if you click live subscribers, you have to have this big old page. Like if you want to do a dashboard and have, your live subscribers updating on one side and your live views updating on the other, you just can't unless you open up two windows and you have to have them split up side by side and then maybe one errors out. Anyways, so that's annoying. You go into here and I don't know about you, but I always wanted this just to be sorted by 60 minutes every time I came to this page. I want to see what's happening right now. I don't care 2 days. I want to see what's happening right now. Why you can't default that is also annoying. Also, I have an artist account, so I have these a bunch of extra little doodads and things that are just a waste of space. Then I wondered, what calls is YouTube Studio making to get this information? Now, would it surprise you that they're using something insane? They're constantly polling their server to get the new data. Instead of having something like a WebSocket or something a little bit more cleaner, less memory usage. I mean, this tab by itself is already using 1.3 gigabytes of memory. That's crazy. There's not much we could do about that. But it may actually, perhaps it will. We'll see. Because I am definitely displaying a lot less data with my new extension, which this is what I'm talking about. I made a Chrome extension, right? And it all started because I noticed this. Check this out. If you go to your network tab, okay, this shows you everything that this website is currently doing right now. What I noticed is if you click See More and you open up the live analytics, what's really cool is we get this join call. So if we look at what join brings back, this is what puts all of these line charts together, all this data, all of the videos, and everything you see here on this page comes from this one join call that happens constantly while you're on this page. So this join call happens every 10 seconds. Let's stop this so I can not have so much data coming through here. This happens every 10 seconds to get you this updated data, which is, I liked that. But what I didn't know is if you search this response here, you can see for each video, you're also getting the live comments, likes, and dislikes. Now, views is not the actual number of views you get. This is like what they say in Studio is engaged views. And I find that it's actually even maybe a little delayed. Either way, comment count and like count and dislike count, those are all very quick and accurate counts. And they come back with every single one of these calls for every one of your recent videos. And, I mean, that's pretty sweet. What I'd also noticed is this join call that this makes, this is getting all your recent videos, your top videos, the information about them. So that's all comes back in this one call to the same endpoint, join. And you'd think There, you could probably get some more data out of this join call if we just added some nodes. So my first experiment was trying this. If we look at the subscribers page, what call is made to get our latest subscribe count? Let's watch. That's right, the join call. Except this time, it's just one node. So I thought, what if I just slap that subscriber node into the other call? Will it just come back with the data that I'm looking for? And the answer was yes. So we don't even need multiple calls. We don't need two windows open. We can make one call. Well, YouTube will make the call for us. We'll just rip this call, put it into that call, make a duo call. It's a fusion call. Anyways, so that began my journey. Then I looked at advanced mode, because here's all these other stats. And say we wanted to add engaged views, and we press apply. Oh my God, that's also making a join call? What are the nodes there? A bunch of stuff, but really the only thing that matters in this whole thing is the top entity table query key. Very cool. So that means we can get some of this other data like revenue and things like that back in the same call. Exciting. Watch hours, all of that. Now, this data that comes from the advanced tab in this table is the delayed data, the kind of data that YouTube tells you, like, you know, it takes a day or two to update, which is fine, but it's still cool to see. And when it does finally update, you'll see it in my new dashboard that I built. And then after all the tinkering around, my first idea was, why do the join call all the way over there? We got some cool information here. Let's delete some of this trash and just put a dashboard right here on the dashboard. That attempt wasn't working well. Then I tried including a couple packages. There's this one called YouTube.js, which is interacts with YouTube's own underground API called InnerTube. It's very cool, very useful, has many other uses, but that wasn't quite working for me either. So then it was like, man, what if I just did a Chrome extension that can somehow intercept the call to join and add the stuff I want, and then update YouTube Studio's table with all the information. So that was one version, but it wasn't quite working right, because updating a table that YouTube Studio is also constantly updating and trying to make sure everything continues to match up and everything, it just became a shit show. Plus, whoever coded this front end is just so annoying. They do so many things wrong. They don't really use IDs. It's just, ugh. So I decided to make my own dashboard, my own charts, my own everything, and just replace the one that is shown and show way more data that YouTube already gives you. You can sit here and you can refresh. I tested this. You can refresh the advanced page of data as much as you want. It doesn't matter to YouTube. They make $1 gajillion. This isn't causing any harm to them. Watching a video uses much more data. Now, after I started styling things to make things look a little bit better, this was very frustrating as well. YouTube, whoever coded YouTube Studio, again, they break like all the rules. They use the same ID for elements. If you're a coder, if you've ever worked on CSS or HTML, you'll know IDs are supposed to be used once on the page because it's an ID. It's a direct link to, like, if you're trying to make something look red, you do hashtag box, and that should be the only hashtag box on the page, and you know it's only going to make one thing red. Instead, YouTube just said, we could just reuse ID all over the place, break all the rules, and make things really hard to target for styling. That's enough bitching. Let me show you the features and some other cool stuff that I did with this extension. It's called Better YouTube Studio, aka Bois Club Studio. I'm Brian the Boy. That's why I call it that. Okay, so leave me alone. That's the name. Let's press refresh, and here we go. On first load, you know it's got to figure out the size of the images and stuff like that. But here's the page. I've already cleaned up all the crap off this page that I personally don't care about. So if you go to use this, if there's some stuff on here that I hid that maybe you want back, I do have this in this little setting. You see this little settings button right here? You can come in here and turn some of this crap back off It's just by default clean. So if you want, you could turn this crap back off. Don't pay attention to the Electron stuff yet. There's also hot streaks, which I'll show you in a second. Also, if you don't want to see dislikes on your dashboard, okay, we could turn it off. But you can already tell, stylistically, this is 5 times better, a little bit more modern. And there is a third column here, which is why, in this case, things are pushed over to the left. Sometimes when YouTube has like a big bug, like a couple days ago, they were counting our revenue wrong, there'll be a little alert right here. So that's why that's still pushed over and, off to the left. But things are a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder, a little bit shinier, a little bit glassier. Look at this sidebar and all these nice animations, okay? You come to content, not much is different here. It just looks better, in my opinion. You go to analytics, this is the real show, okay? Look at these tabs. They're beautiful. And these nice, colorful lines. Things just feel happier. If we go to content, we could see whatever. Audience. Look at those. That's cool looking. All this is very cool looking. But the thing that I'm most proud of and the thing that I find the most useful, I just like making this look nice too because I use this website constantly, right? But if we open up the dashboard, see this says dashboard now instead of saying see more. Now we have this beautiful dashboard. I use it on half my screen typically, so this is how it's usually with something else open. And I'm on a 4K monitor, so this looks a little huge. But we now can have our views, our likes, our comments, our dislikes all popping up. Even our revenue is on here. It'll update to, somewhere for me, sometimes it's like 5, 6 p.m. that updates every day. And so it's cool to just see at a glance some of these pieces of data that if you want to use this as a dashboard, where previously it was a pain in the butt. You had to click out of this, or you have to open up YouTube Studio, click 5 different tabs, yada, yada, yada. Now, also, in the old dashboard, in the OG dashboard, you can click a video to go to its analytics from this dashboard. It was an annoying thing. But what you have now is these quick buttons here where we can open the analytics for just that video. We can go to the video itself. We can edit the video. We can go to the comments for that video specifically. That is very convenient. Also, if you're crazy, you could do a full screen. Yeah, never seen anyone do a full screen before, have you? It's automatically sorted by 60 minutes because that's my preference. Now, of course, if you see things otherwise, I could add in the ability to resort this too. But I don't know. I feel like everybody cares about 60 minutes. So that's the dashboard. But that's not even all. There's also this little quick access menu. So this is links to public shorts, your scheduled shorts, which I have none scheduled right now, your most recently posted visible posts, and your scheduled posts, and also just the link to the dashboard again. I was constantly having to switch the filters off. I scheduled a ton of posts and yada, yada, yada. Here's the other thing that I've done. I have now made a mobile dashboard that's very similar, okay? So we get the same sort of notifications live on our phone. You could pop this up on an iPad. I mean, you could probably open up YouTube Studio Web on an iPad. But on a phone, YouTube Studio, you have to constantly refresh the real-time analytics if you want to see anything that's constantly happening. Now you can have this dashboard. And this is cool because you get the same updates and the same 60 minutes. You get the same revenue visible on one screen. And this runs locally on your own computer. So how that works is outside of the Chrome extension, this is an optional thing. I have an Electron app that you can also download. You install that or you run the source code, and that puts a little tray icon on your computer that is a receiving server and a front-end web app to do this sort of dashboard thing. Now, why this is cool is because actually you don't have to use my iteration of this. I detailed this all on my repo for this app because I figured, hey, maybe this phone app implementation that I built for me isn't something anyone else would ever want. But I left everything open, right? So you can build out the same sort of API endpoints like heartbeats and data and things like that. And if you leave the dashboard open on a machine somewhere, you can accept this data. Maybe you want to ingest it. Maybe you want to have your own personal index of historical data. And this will constantly suck down whatever data that the dashboard gets. At the same time the dashboard gets it, it can send it out to your personal dashboard. Whatever you want to build, you can. As long as you just follow these standards, you can chuck this into AI somewhere and it'll make you your own backend server to read your data and everything like that. I even gave an example, small little Express app. That's just a little server that'll show you some of this stuff. If you want to make some changes to the code yourself that you think would be useful for everybody, go ahead and do a PR and I'll check it out, review it. If it adheres to what I think is the purpose of this extension, I'll roll it in. If you want this extension right now, you go to my GitHub repo. The link is in the description. You go to releases, you scroll down, and you get the Bois Club Studio extension .zip. You unzip it, you go into Chrome, and you set you install an unpacked extension. I mean, I'll make sure to have the full directions on there on the GitHub repo README. So in case it gets a little confusing for you, there'll be step-by-step directions. But I did make a Mac version, a Linux version, and a Windows version exe of the backend server and dashboard. So anyways, I personally find this epic. There's a chance no one even ever sees this video ever. There's always a chance at that. My luck on YouTube, there's a high chance at that. If you do see this video and you think this is tight, let me know. Please press like. This is my second channel. I make Dragon Ball content otherwise, but I am a programmer and I love doing stuff like this. But so feel free to subscribe to this channel. This is where I'll put stuff like this. And subscribe to my other channel if you like Dragon Ball. And just let me know. Do a GitHub issue or comment on this video if you have some ideas or some suggestions, or you want to work on it too. More than willing to talk about it. You can join the Discord, https://bois.icu, bois.icu. That'll just take you to the Discord. I'd love to talk programming too if anyone is interested. I mean, that's it. Thanks for watching.